society. This is what football and teamwork is all about. And we have to continue like this. I'm convinced that football will play a key role to bring people back together when it's safe to play again and be with our friends and families in large groups. Let's prepare for that moment. My dear friends, please do keep safe and take good care of yourselves and your families. Let's continue to follow the recommendations of the health authorities, both from your country and from the World Health Organization. See you very soon, my friends. FIFA is with you in these difficult times, and together we will win.
Yeah, FIFA President Gianni Infantino right there. Together we will win, he says. And normally, guys would ask what made the headlines for you in the outgoing week? And I feel like asking, Wisdom, what made the headlines for you in the outgoing week in the world of sports?
She's already laughing at me.
I don't
because
know,
she knows what I want to say before I start. I don't really have any big story to say made the headlines.
Oh, you even have story.
As I'm saying, there's nothing big, you know.
But there's something.
But you have something. That's like the most surprising thing of all.
There will definitely be something.
So tell me, what's that something that made the headlines for you?
From the local scene, Olise, back and forth, we did hear that he said he would not coach the national team.
Then he came out to clarify.
Then he quickly came out before he would block his destiny. He quickly came out to actually say, no, that's not the context. I was quoted out of context, and he had to correct that one. But outside that, there's been little to nothing than back-to-back talks, especially from boxers now, basically. Dillian White, Anthony Joshua, everybody saying something that the other person is replying. Dillian White in particular, he's been on and on about how some people are just punching bags, how he has crossed some hurdles already and they're trying to bring him back, how a particular Dominic Brezel is just a waste of time, you know, and all that. But outside that, there's nothing really huge that happened. I'm sure there could be others too that I'm not even remembering, but they are just little stories that emanated one way or the other, or interviews now as the case may be, but nothing really big, Victor.
Dorcas, anything for you?
Well, I just want to say it's been exciting to get to hear the thoughts of people out there with their all-time best squad from the national team and also their favorite. Yesterday, I heard you guys talking about the Champions League, the most memorable of them all, and people were calling. I just love to hear diverse opinions, and people obviously give that to me. This is the period where we get to reminisce, where we get to go back in history to get to get.
According to Super Sports, relieve.
Exactly, we have to relive those moments because coronavirus has halted lots of things. For me, actually, there's nothing that made the headlines for me. No, obviously nothing. It's just coronavirus that has halted football or sports generally, because we're supposed to be seeing the Olympics next few months away from now, but obviously it's been postponed. The Premier League, the Serie A,
supposed to be concluding.
Come on, so nothing really big for me. It's just that the diverse opinions from people from history, what they've experienced so far in the world of sports, that has made the headlines for me.
Okay, well, talking about Premier League clubs yesterday says they remain keen to finish the season. But the proposal of completing the campaign by June 30 was not raised in the meeting they had yesterday. All top flight clubs were represented on the video call with the focus on different models for completing the season. Clubs were shown different models for games restarting and being played in June, July, and August. But the Premier League reiterated that the season will not resume until the government declares it is safe to do so. Each club has either 9 or 10 games left to play, and it is thought all remaining matches could be played in a 5-week period. The government said on Thursday the lockdown would be in place for at least another 3 weeks until the 7th of May. Premier League clubs met just yesterday via video call, and all 20 were committed to finishing the season with no cut-off date being discussed. Well, one option is for players to drive to their training grounds in their kits, so they spend less time in contact with other players. Games will be played behind closed doors with all players, coaches, and match officials having been tested for coronavirus. These protocols would only be adopted when tests are more readily available to key workers and the public. No games have been played, of course. We know that no games have been played since the 13th of March, and there are 92 matches to be played in order to complete the Premier League season. Dorcas, it seems like all clubs are committed to the season being completed. Does that just mean that it is the end of the league being declared null and void?
See, the thing is, this is a time where people really want to, play football, want to do something to help their bodies and all that, especially for sportsmen. It is going to speak a lot how they train, their rudiments on how they think and every other thing. But the Premier League wanting to finish before August, just as UEFA has come out to say, I think they're weighing all their options because they have to finish this league.
Yeah.
Liverpool are leading with 25 points. The next is Manchester City and Leicester City. So if you want to stop this league or call it null and void, it's going to hurt a lot of people. You should consider all that. And you also ending the league and then sending some of those persons, some of the teams that are in the relegation zone to be relegated. That's also going to be mean for them as well. Some teams have 10 games, some have 9 games, like Manchester City and Arsenal. They have 9 games to play. There and few others, while the rest have 10 games. Arsenal, Manchester City has 10. The rest have 9. So you don't have to call the league null and void. They have to see what they can do, because you said if it comes back June, they are going to play June, July, and August before they said they can play it in the next 5 weeks for the league to finish before the other season starts. So I do think it's possible. Depends on how the coronavirus would probably be exterminated, because right now people are looking forward to this coronavirus being exterminated from this earth. But now let's look at the UK. The UK has they added 3 more weeks to the lockdown. So
that's till the 7th of May.
Imagine it. That is, they're still anticipating it to be that. So it depends on the coronavirus generally. If it can be exterminated before June, definitely the league should start. But if they cannot, even the testing of players and then playing behind closed doors wouldn't work most of the time, because this player, except you want to calm them in a particular
But every
place.
single player, every single club, they are committed. They want this to happen. So it's not a situation of now. It's no longer a situation of one club saying yes, end the season. It looks like all 20 clubs are unanimously in agreement to complete the season. Do you think even if UEFA says August, all season might be over, Premier League, can't they go otherwise?
Since every club has agreed, have agreed rather, they would have to sit down and look for a similar ground. It's either you're camping them in a particular place, because they wouldn't have to go back home or wouldn't have to come in contact with people who haven't been tested just yet. So they have to be camped in a particular place. Yes, it could work. UEFA have said it. They are not going to heat on these leagues. They have to just discuss with them and find out exactly what the plans are for the league. As for La Liga, there are lots of talks about that as well. That it's going to be ending the way it is. Definitely, that's what La Liga are thinking. Even the Serie A are thinking same thing. But English Premier League, because of how many points the leaders of the league right now are leading, they just cannot call it null and void or stop the league the way it is. So they are looking for a sort of ground where everybody can land on, a common ground where everybody can land on. And since all clubs have agreed that maybe the league should continue, definitely, why not? The league should continue, because they all came together and agreed on this particular thing. So I think it's a good plan.
Okay, well, Wisdom, just quoting the statement that the Premier League says, it says it remains our objective to complete the 2019-2020 season, but at this stage, all dates are tentative while the impact of COVID-19 develops. Are you confident that the season would end in the way it ought to?
Well, Victor, no one can be for certain confident of the season ending the way it's supposed to now, because you can't tell with the pandemic still on course sort of in most of those countries, and you look at the death rate, you look at the number of infected cases, and the fact that there is no cure. If there was a cure announced yet, then we can go ahead with a lot of things, but as we speak, there is no proven vaccine. There is no proven cure for COVID-19. So it's not that the world can resume as we speak. So it will be quite difficult for me to say, okay, I think the league is going to end, because even if I want to believe it will end, because the world has gone through a lot of things and we found a way to continue. Even if I believe this would pass, I don't know how long. So it will be difficult to actually quote a time. But let's look at the critical parts of this thing now. The league management, they are desperate to play the remaining games, as the cost of ending the league or cancelling it at this time could be up to £1 billion.
Yeah.
Now, these are the reasons. Sky, BT and
Sports.
all other rights holders, they've paid up, some of them have paid up front. Which means that's for all the games that will be played. Which means if you cancel the league now, you cancel the games, they would want to recoup their losses
money.
in millions
Exactly.
now. So it might affect the league. And that's what Richard Masters, the chief executive of the league, was saying within the week. Was talking about the fact that they could lose a lot of revenue if they end the season this way. There are a lot of options on the table. Yes, they've come out to say that by the guidance of, how did they put that grammar, before they would decide to start the league, maybe the guidance of the medical guidance. If medical guidance allows, that the league would only start when medical guidance allows. There have been options of the idea of playing a World Cup style. That is kind of World Cup style to actually round off with the season, but there's a lot of negativities too surrounding that idea, and how do you convene clubs to a neutral venue, like they've said? How do you bring in health personnel? A lot of factors to that one, which might actually forestall that one from taking place. So I think for me, it would be quite too early to start
still too early
pitching our tents, yes, with a particular time as to when the league would end.
But other leagues, look at German Bundesliga, they've already resumed training. They're working towards the 30th of April.
They've resumed training and they're working towards the
30th of April. They did give a date.
There's no date yet, Victor. There's no
the season is suspended until the 30th of April.
The league does not. They didn't say the league is resuming. Bayern Munich could be playing Paderborn on this particular day. There is no date for resumption yet because Germany is the 5th highest case whatever in the world in terms of the coronavirus infection.
The French Ligue 1 are considering June 17.
They are considering the Premier League will converge again. This was the considering they were considering. That's the one they just met now.
But they didn't even consider any date
because there was from the situation on ground, there is nothing to consider. The leagues are telling you we are looking at testing players for the first week of May and all that. These are predictions. We are hoping. We live by faith and not by sight, we say. So people are hoping and believing. I believe it will come to pass. That's what I'm saying. I can't pick a date because I'm on air. I can't mislead people, giving them an information that is not true. Okay. But I believe very, very soon, 2 months or thereabout, somehow the leagues would, at least 1 or 2 would start. But for now, it would be quite unheard of if I pick any particular day, because you look at the fact that the cases do not have a clear solution yet. What countries are trying to do is contain whatever is going on. So for the Premier League suggesting medical guidance, whatever, I think is the right way to go. They are not looking at most people are just paying attention to Liverpool. The fact that they've won the league. The enemies are saying don't give them the title, drag it from them. But we've forgotten that the race for the Champions League places is still very open. If they end the league this way, like the NPFL, and say, Liverpool, whoever is following them, will go to the Champions League, would it not be unfair on some other clubs who are pursuing or chasing for those positions? You look at the bottom 3. If they say if we end it like this, these other 3 will go down. And mind you, they cannot cancel the Premier League when the German Bundesliga will be concluded, because Champions League representatives, they will not resend the representatives they have now. Sometimes when I hear people talk, I really wish they would sit down and calculate the options. They are not cancelling all the leagues in Europe because the Belarusian league is not experiencing the same issue. And let's not forget, we have teams who come from some of these countries that do not even have this thing as severe as some others. Okay. Some of the countries now, the likes of Bate Borisov, CFR Cluj, clubs that come from various countries to the Champions League, they do not have these issues. So if you're going to replay the Champions League, they're going to send representatives. As you mentioned now, Germany, they're beginning to consider if for example, they've started training by May, let's say something good happens and they start the league and the Premier League cancels, what will happen? But it's good enough they've come out to actually put it out there that they are not going to cancel the league. That option is ruled out. Economically, it is not viable. Nobody's thinking about Liverpool.
All right.
Economically, it's not viable. For the clubs that are fighting for the Champions League spot, it is not viable. For the clubs that are fighting for their lives down there, if you just end it and say, okay, let's hand the title to Liverpool or let's start it all over. Leeds United are just 1 game away from making it to the Premier League, and you're going to tell them to start all over again. that totally would not make sense. You look at the challenges that might going down. But I think for me, let us wait till the medical guys confirm that it is good to start. And for now, let's just keep faith and keep hoping.
Dorcas, the Premier League, there are talks of a World Cup style format in order to end the season and also determine the clubs that will be competing in European competition. Jamie Carragher also backed that idea of an alternative tournament. What's your take on this? Do you think there should be an alternative tournament just to make sure the season ends? Probably, think of whatever.
There should be no alternative tournament. We're thinking of how to conclude this. We're thinking of how to conclude this because coronavirus has halted lots of
so they want to do
of
now
games.
because the Premier League says that the season will be concluded in, let's say, 5 weeks. So they're taking of a way that would make it shorter. Probably see the season conclude in 2 weeks.
What kind of tournament do they want to bring? Because we know that these are the second legs that are being played already, not the first legs. Every club right now, they are playing the second round, the second leg of the first from the first. So I do think that there's no need to think of any other tournament. When the medical crew, when your government have issued that okay, the lockdown is over, we are now free to resume, our lives can continue, then go back to the normal style of play. It's either you start now behind closed doors by camping those clubs or those players in a particular place, or you wait until this coronavirus has been exterminated and then we go back to the regular way we play football. I don't see bringing in a new tournament would also mean we have to pump in money as well. We have to bring money from somewhere, and the clubs right now are complaining of not having money. They are now saying players should take pay cuts to following their players or some staff to the government as well. So these things, we'll think about these things. I don't think a new tournament would make any sense for me. A new style of play would make any sense for me. It's the second legs you're playing, so I don't see any reason why we should
finish it the same way.
Just finish it the same way. We know how to do it.
Wisdom.
It will rob a lot of people, and it would just destabilize things. Because if you still want to play World Cup style, it means I don't know all the details, but some people will not play. Maybe it might be top 6 or top 10 or something. I think it will not make sense. I'm looking at the Championship now, and I'm not talking about the Premier League because I already know the title issue is settled. Liverpool are just 2 games away, probably, from winning the league. Nobody is talking about that part. But the second part of things now is the fact that the teams that are competing for the Champions League spot are still fighting. The guys down there, the Championship, just about 9 matches in total now. I think Leeds United just need to win 1 or 2 more games, and they know for sure that they're into the playoffs. If you now end it now and just 6 teams go for the playoffs, it doesn't make too much sense to me. If you want to do a World Cup style, are you just going to pick 10 teams and they go together to play and all that? But Victor, the truth is, we are all trying to, as in the league and everybody suggesting, they're all trying to look for the best way forward. Okay. But if the world is going to be able to contain this pandemic within the next 2 months, let us just wait 3 months. I know it's going to cause a lot of shaking changes to the calendar. If it means giving only 2 weeks for transfer business, I don't mind. Players have been resting. They don't need another holiday, in terms of maybe midweek season break and all that stuff. But let us just calm down and wait. So we'll not bring in some factors that will lead to some other people being aggrieved, not forgetting the guys with the TV rights and all that. Let's just wait. Where are we rushing to? Let's hang on. Once everything stops, look at the Spanish La Liga. Who do you hand over the title? If you say you want to do World Cup style, well, maybe top 6 players.
Well, the Spanish La Liga.
How do you do it in the Spanish La Liga?
When we get to discuss about the La Liga, because it looks like the La Liga might just be ending the way it is. But Timmy Harrison, the MVP, joins us in the studio. Timmy, good afternoon to you. Welcome to today's Sports Live.
Good afternoon, guys, in the studio. Besides the girl. Good afternoon, Potako fans. I'm actually sad today. Let me just say, rest in peace to Abakari. It came in shock. Yeah, I know it's off sports matter, but I think last week Saturday, justice was done to this. And Gianni Infantino said everything we need to say. But the English press, the English people, their body too sweet them. You cannot talk about resumption of league with what we have and what we know now. Everything is consideration, but there are so many permutations that will knock off that consideration off its foot. We have a disease that's not well understood. People are being discharged and they are getting reinfected again somehow, somewhere. Their immune system doesn't keep them whole, that once you recover, you stay recovered. In China, there are cases, thousands of cases of people that have gone out of the disease and have gone back into it again. Now, if you imagine that you certify 10, 15, 20, 1,000, 15,000 free of the disease because they beat it. And they now they get themselves reinfected again because for one reason or the other, their immune system just couldn't hold up. And they go into the grounds and watch match. And the sequence continues all over again. And I'll make a very bold prediction here. Yeah, I'm on air, so I'm not supposed to do this. But I'm going to do it. This season is gone. It's absolutely gone. There's nothing we can do about it. It wasn't planned. It wasn't man-made. These are the things that happen when with life. Yes, big monies are. People are not even talking about Formula One. People are not talking about other people that have had sponsorship. Why are we particular about the English Premiership? The season is gone. Trust me, people will sit and think of ways to sort it out. I think this season is gone. I think they might not relegate anybody. I think because people invested so much money, people from lower ranks like the Championship, Leeds United have to come up, West Brom have to come up because the gap those people have opened is a little bit considerable. So they have to come up. Probably make a 22-man team. You cannot declare anybody a winner because I keep shouting every day. In 1996, I think 6 games to the end of the tournament, Newcastle United was 16 points ahead of Man U. The final day of the league, Man U pipped them to the title. So how many points? 10 matches. That you're talking about 27, 30 points for some people. For Man City, you have 30 points to play for. Who said Liverpool can't falter? Who said anybody can't falter? Who knows who will come out of this whole issue of this prolonged break the way they are? Players go into injuries and come back and they are not themselves next 2-3 months. People lose form and come back. Who knows who will come out stronger? Bottom line is that it's not witch-hunting anybody. It's just for humanity's sake. You can't think about it. Now let's take the league. Let's start by July. Premiership is supposed to resume August. How do they do it? What about the transfer window? Are we going to be playing matches and be doing transfers? Are players going to be focused? Is Lautaro Martinez be thinking of Man City wants to sign me when he's still playing for Man City for Inter Milan? How do you do it? It doesn't make sense because today your manager is calling you up that Barca wants to talk to me. Manchester United wants to talk to me, and this evening you're playing a match for Chelsea. You're playing a match for Sheffield United. You're playing a match for West Brom. How does it figure out? Then we talked about last week. What about the health personnel? What about the crew? People that will cover the games. Because people will run commentary. Cameras will roll. The groundsmen. Who ensures all these people? Big monies have been lost. Yes, it's part of life, but they can recoup. They can stretch things in such a way that, okay, you pay this amount, we're supposed to pay less. Because of this, we give you this discount. But if we sit and think of the Premiership coming back, it's not going to happen. And I'm so confidently it's not going to happen.
Well, that is gospel according to Timmy Harrison. He says that the Premiership would not resume, would not happen. The season is gone. Is it just the English Premier League or every single league?
Across, besides the craziness of Belarus and Burundi and all those obscure countries, the other leagues they are gone. Germany, I was listening. Germany about the 5th highest in the world. I think yes, they handle their coronavirus. They handle it very well, but you can't take chances. And all these players, they've called players in camp, they don't test and all that. It's just anticipatory. That's what it is. But the German government will not. If the government says this cannot happen, it cannot happen. We are humans first before any other thing. The German league, and that is even the clear-cut something. It can't. If any league will restart, I don't think German league will restart. They are not crazy. Spanish league might, but German league, no. The English will not.
Well, there's still a clause to that argument, by the way. If something happens, maybe things might change. Some people say it will take them only 4 weeks or 5 weeks to conclude their own leagues.
The English Premier League says it will take them 5 weeks.
Honestly, I do believe let's just forget the resumption or no resumption for now. Let's wait till this issue dies down.
Until it's feasible.
Or there's a solution. Yes, let's know that we can now start thinking.
There should be a solution first.
Before we start,
don't even have any idea of a solution.
I'm telling you,
because
as it is now in some countries. Yes, we're having somehow the medical personnel are able to treat people by symptoms or whatever process they're doing it, and one or two people are being released. But if you measure the rate of people that have died and the fact that they are still dying,
and people are still getting infected,
and there's no solution.
Yeah.
So even one person in a stadium is a problem.
It's a big problem.
It's a big problem. So let's just, if I was to advise footballing bodies, yes, they are proactive, it's their job, they have to keep doing it. I would say let's just, even if you want it to end, you don't want it to end, let's just chill, relax, take a chill pill and wait till this thing is over. Because someone posted, he said this S word is real, and I was like, he didn't know it was real before. I
was wondering what this was.
So really, let's just hang on and wait. I think Victor saw something like that too. Let's just hang on and wait. There's no where are we rushing to? Let's wait till this
everything
thing
has been halted. Champions League has been halted.
Everything is
Europa
the
has
whole
been
world.
halted.
The whole world is on standstill.
Okay.
So let's wait till this thing comes.
Besides Dana White, every other person.
Well, moving on from the Premier League and coronavirus issue, we're still sticking with the Premier League. Leicester City boss Brendan has discussed about Jamie Vardy, James Maddison, and how he feels to be a manager of the side. He was speaking about Vardy. He says, before I came in, I was watching him from afar and seeing him maintain that real quality that he has as a goal scorer. And I was really looking forward to working with him when I arrived. I was seeing the quality in the games, but it was going to be interesting to see how he was on a day-to-day basis. But he is right up there with the elite strikers in world football. How he threatens the line and his explosive speed over a short distance is absolutely phenomenal. He's very focused. He's in his early 30s now, but he's still as quick as ever. He has an appetite for the game, and he's got that old school mentality where he wants to fight. He wants to run, and his whole attitude to the game has been absolutely brilliant since I came in. He's a natural goal scorer. If you get the service to him, he will finish. Let me start with you, Dorcas. This is according to this man, Brendan Rodgers, now talking about Jamie Vardy. He says if you get the services to Jamie Vardy, he will finish. Is Jamie Vardy really among the elite strikers in the world?
People don't get to see how good Vardy is. Maybe because he's with Leicester City. Vardy is a very clinical striker. He knows how to get the job done, especially when he's in front of goal. You don't have to pass the ball on to Vardy. You have to just place those long passes to him, and he will get the runs for you. He's old. He's 32.
33.
If I'm exactly 33. And he's still as quick as lightning. As you can tell, he gives a lot of defenders a lot of problems when he is in that particular game. So people don't get to see how good he is, probably because he's with Leicester City. But trust me, I think if Leicester were playing for the likes of Manchester City, Liverpool,
Vardy was playing for the likes.
Vardy was playing for the likes of those clubs, and probably in the Spanish La Liga with Real Madrid or Bayern Munich or every other club, you could tell that they would place him there. They would say, he's better than Lewandowski, like Karim Benzema, is even close to better than even Antoine Griezmann. Too many persons will say that, but because it's with Leicester City. But for me, I tell you, Vardy is a clinical striker. Any club would want to buy him at any time, because whenever he comes into the match, you're quite hopeful, you're quite sure that you would have goals in that particular game, especially when you pair him with very quick left and right wingers. Trust me, he's going to get the job done. Even when your midfield, when you have someone in the midfield that knows how to do the dirty job for you and then pass those balls to Vardy, he's always going to put it back at the back of the net. So Vardy, for me, yes, he's a very good striker. But placing him.
No, I'm waiting for this part.
I was waiting for this part. After all of this,
I wanted to even remind her that it's what class they said.
But go ahead. Go ahead.
Let me finish.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Finish.
I just said because he plays for Leicester City. Leicester City do not get to play in the
Did he
Champions League.
plays for Leicester
Hold
City?
on.
Harry Maguire plays for Leicester City. Madison plays for Peter Schmeichel plays for Leicester
defensive
City.
midfielders right now that you can confidently say?
No, stick with
Can
Vardy.
I just called other people that play for Leicester City and they are world class. Like every team wants to have
For
them.
me, Vardy is a world class player. If you ask me,
He's a
He
world-class
is.
striker.
But
Yeah.
because he is with Leicester City, you don't
Same
get to
as
see
Ndidi.
how the brilliance, how brilliant he is. People will always come out to say Harry Kane is a brilliant striker. But if you ask me, no, he's not.
What's the difference between
He's
Leicester
not.
and Tottenham?
Tottenham is bigger
Leicester
than
have won
Leicester.
the league.
He's good at Leicester, but Kane is not as clinical as Jamie Vardy. That's for me.
But Kane is more rated. Most
The
people
English press
Kane.
will always want to do that. He's the captain of the English national team.
Before he became the captain.
When was he? Before he became T. For me, if you ask me, he's not going to be in with the likes of Lewandowski and the rest of the other guys because he's with Leicester City. That's what I'm trying to say.
So if he
leaves
leaves
Leicester to bigger clubs, I am telling you, he's going to be in that ranks of likes of Lewandowski, or that's of Karim Benzema. That's what I think.
I'll come back to you about him leaving Leicester City. But wisdom, would you say Jamie Vardy is an elite striker? Is up there? In fact, first of all, can you name some elite strikers? Let's get it right. Let's start with that.
Karim Benzema.
He's an elite striker. Who else?
Yeah, he's an elite striker. These days we are Messi. They play safe. But Karim Benzema,
whenever he plays, he's an elite.
Messi is elite. Ronaldo, Lewandowski comes in.
Aubameyang.
Yeah. Let's stick with
Aubameyang.
Let me stick with what's his
So
name?
now that you've mentioned elite strikers, is Vardy in that level?
Victor, most times people judge different players by different parameters. And for someone like me, I would always say that it's like I would always ask clubs, why did you spend 100, 200 million pounds on this player, 150? Because I know per ratio I can find players who can score more goals than these other people. Why did he automatically become, or maybe suddenly from nowhere, become a target for Barcelona at some point, albeit that I heard he was going to be sitting on the bench? Tottenham also called out for his services before Manchester. What happened? His statistics. Somehow these coaches get to find out these ratios. The goals you've scored per how many games that year. I think that's what brought Odion's name from nowhere. Most people might not know. That's what brought Odion's name. His goal per ratio, both for the national team, not Nations Cup only, both national team from qualifiers. You click the internet for a statistic if you can go for those deep secret statistic sites, and that's how the name came out. I think Vardy falls into that list. He's not a youngster. So if you compare him with Kane, I think it's a disservice because people will pay. Look at Odion Ighalo. If Odion Ighalo was 22 years of age, nobody will be thinking twice about him going back to China. Everybody would know he would stay at Manchester United because United will be willing to compete favorably with China to keep his services.
I think you're Docas. You're cut from the same cloth.
But if you look at the statistics of the young man, as I said, Parisio, from his days at Halifax Town to his days at Fleetwood to Leicester City, his goals per game speaks a lot about the quality of the player. But they don't judge you elite by playing in your backyard. They judge you as elite by the titles you win, the biggest of stages you have displayed that thing you have. And you can be a good presenter in Today FM. But we know that probably until some people see you in the BBC, they might not care about what you have. You can score 20 goals here, nobody cares. Until you go. Mercy Akide, in her young star days, was scoring an average of 4 or 5 goals per game here in the city. But when she moved on, that's when people started thinking about. Nobody talked about what she scored. So you can be whatever in your backyard. You have to prove it at the biggest of stages. Jamie Vardy has not got into the biggest of stages, and that's what would disqualify him.
Has Harry Kane got into the biggest of stages?
You have asked me this. Was it you that asked me this question before?
I don't think he's.
I don't think so. About what class strikers, either you or Reliance, were having that argument. You called the Zimares, but that's not argument for today. So he has not done it at the biggest of stages. He has not played in a Champions League final. He has. Yes, he hasn't. He has not played in a World Cup final.
But Kane has played in a Champions League.
Kane has played in a Champions League final.
But he has not won the cup.
Kane has been able to push his club to the Champions League and whatever.
Vardy pushed his club to win. Vardy pushed his club to win the league.
I'm coming now. So if you look at those ratings now, you come to World Cup performances and all those kind of things. Those are the stages. And who are the biggest clubs? You understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying that he's not good. I decided to give you those statistics because that's where I wanted to start from.
Okay.
But if you look at the biggest of stages and the biggest of clubs, you've not cut it out there, then you've not done it. Why is it that players are running to Real Madrid? The class of the club and the fact that it is an elite club. You can't play for a banana club and expect to be rated high. Most players who played for Arsenal till today, till today, some people might not know them. But the fact that you tasted the Real Madrid shirt, with all due respect to Arsenal, the Arsenal of today, some people played for them. Some people might not even. Some people don't know that. What's his name? Is it Callum Chambers? One player like that played for Arsenal. But as long as you taste the Real Madrid shirt, till today, Odegaard is the big news. And he's, of course, the way he is now, I think he might even be moving to a bigger team. So Jamie Vardy is old. It would be unfair to compare Jamie Vardy and Harry Kane, because the reason why Harry Kane commands big money is because Harry Kane is young. Nobody wants to buy a 33-year-old for 200 million. Harry Kane has played in the Champions League final. That's an edge. He has pushed his teams to the second or third position in the league. That's another edge you might want to look at. He has proven to be consistent too. So if you want to compare Harry Kane and Jamie Vardy, I think that's not the argument. But you roped Harry Kane.
You're shooting yourself.
No. I have to clarify. But you roped Harry Kane in. I'm trying to distinguish why Harry Kane should not be compared to Jamie Vardy.
But you've not done it. I don't think the
distinction. I'm done with why Jamie Vardy is not rated in. But as per you roping Harry Kane, because you asked
I will eventually rope Harry Kane.
I think the only clear thing he's trying to say is the only clear thing I got from what he said was the age.
What's the age
difference?
Because telling me you're playing the Champions League final,
Champions League,
and pushing your
Jamie
team
Vardy
to
played in the
second.
Champions League. Jamie Vardy won
the Premier League
with this team.
He pushed his team to the Premier League,
and now
to win the
they are
Premier
still
League
above Tottenham. So the thing is this. If you're talking about age, yes, I agree with you.
Yeah, the age, exactly.
The age is
just the age.
33 to 25. I get that, but looking at how many matches,
even the
Jamie
consistency.
Vardy, of course, he has played 63 matches in the Champions League, and he has scored 20 goals in the Champions League, while Harry Kane has played 35 and has about 9 goals in the Champions League. See, these things are what we're trying to say.
I don't understand.
In the Champions League, Jamie Vardy played in the Champions League
and scored how many goals?
He has scored 20 goals. Check it.
No. How many?
Check it.
No.
You
They
have
played
to
one
go and
season.
check
No,
it.
I won't.
No, let's
I will not
go.
go.
I don't think so. There's no
It's
way.
just one season.
You have to check it.
No, I won't.
No.
No, I won't.
There's
But
no way
it's
he
only
must.
one season.
Yeah.
If he scored 20 goals,
He should have been
he has
top
broken
scorer.
all records.
all records.
You
Because
have
the
to
highest
check
is
it.
15.
No, he's
So
not.
it's not. So
he's not,
he's done only one season in the
Well,
Champions
he
League.
couldn't
But let
have scored
me
20
help them out. Let me just help them out. Jamie Vardy is far away in Leicester City, so there's no way he can slap me from there. So I'll tell him, he's not an elite player. It's not. We don't have to beat, dance Makosa, Zanku, and every other thing. He is not an elite player. He's a player cut out for the pattern that Leicester City plays. But he's not an elite player. He went to the World Cup 2 years ago, could barely get a game. Because the English national setup is not set up for his style of play. The style of play, you have to have a perfect holding midfielder and people that will run and are able to counter-attack you. The season they won the league, 2016 season, that's the way it was set up. You have a certain N'Golo Kante partnering with Danny Drinkwater, and you have Mahrez on one side and Albrighton on another side, and they will run you down. And this was purely a counter-attacking team. Now they play the high line, and he stands with the defense. So they play the ball behind the defense. He runs and latches onto the goal. He's a fantastic finisher. I won't take away that, but take him out of that Leicester City style of play. He becomes this Paul Onuachu.
No.
He becomes Allow me talk.
It's not Leicester.
Halifax Town.
Yeah.
Is what you're calling.
Yes.
You know Halifax Town.
Yes.
Dolphins will beat them. Today FM will beat them silly. So don't call Halifax Town. Fleetwood. That is even worse. Halifax Town is even better than Fleetwood.
But at his level then.
The man was almost 29 before.
players
Wait, let me tell you something. The man was almost 29 before he got his first English call up. He's a late bloomer. There are players that late bloomers. It will take them time.
For a late bloomer,
Allow me to
when
talk.
I was talking,
Allow me. No, I was quiet. I was quiet. I was quiet. That's why when I came in, I refused to greet. I was quiet, but your hair is fine. I was quiet. Now let me go back to what I was saying. He's a fantastic player, but he's not an elite. There are different ways to grade people. You have the A pluses and you have the upper echelons of A's. He's I don't want to say he's a mediocre B, but he's close to being a mediocre B, but he's not an elite player. Take him away from Leicester City. And it's simple. Take your mind back to 2018 World Cup. When even England needed wins, they don't bring him in. They rather bring in Rashford. They don't. So it's the kind of way you set up a player. We talked about it last week, Saturday, and I talked about money. There's another thing I think earlier this year I even talked about Salah. The way you in the team you play, the way the coach sets it up can make a player bloom or just gloom. One time, you either blooming or you're going gloom. Simple. Every project that come after, I think Nigerian Kingston, because Nigerian Kingston before Ranieri, I think Kingston brought them and they took Ranieri took over from him. Ranieri set up a team for him to, and it was when Ranieri came and structured it in such a way that you have somebody that can cover them defensively, so Leicester can soak up pressure. That's when he thrived. And who is the person? It was N'Golo Kante, partnered by Danny Drinkwater. Kante left, indeed he slotted in, but they had issues in managers. This manager will not. They couldn't get things right. You could see when that midfield, that defensive holding midfield part was lacking. The goals dried up. Mahrez suddenly became their star player. You understand? But if you have a team, right now he has Ndidi sitting in front of that back four. You have Maddison and Yuri Tillemans. When you have Yuri Tillemans, Maddison, and you have a setting this Ashley Barnes on the left side of midfield, then you're assured of people that are willing to run and can play. If you have players as intelligent as Maddison and Yuri Tillemans, then they can always set the ball for you. And if you check all his goals through, let's forget Flitter and let's forget those ones.
This is one of the things I'm saying. You're judging him with only England.
Why
that's
is
what I'm saying. Let me because he has not played for the big boys.
We're saying the same thing. I'm not saying just in the World Cup. It was so glaring. He barely played. And it was the person that was shining. Not only in the World Cup, in Euro 2016, it was similar thing that happened. So two major tournaments, it was two similar things. Even the Euro 2016, he was even starting. They started the tournament with him and Kane playing up front.
Yeah,
you understand? Because Rooney was going out of climb, so he was captain the team, but he wasn't getting games. He started a few matches after he started the first match. After then, he started coming in as sub. It got to a point they had to completely drop him from the starting lineup. If he's that elite of a player, he will prove his class. Bottom line is he's a fantastic player, but not an elite because he has to play through a particular pattern for him to thrive. And if you have to be an elite player, any pattern that's thrown up to you.
I don't think
allow me finish. Messi has played on the left of Barcelona midfield. He has played as
please drop your hand.
Drop your hand. You're not in the class. Messi has played Messi started as play from the right. He has played behind an attacker. Anywhere he plays, he still top scores for the team. Now let's go to Aubameyang. Aubameyang went to Dortmund. You had the starting Lewandowski, but he was playing from the right. He still put it once they moved him from the right of the attack to the central. He broke Spanish and German league. He was scoring goals for fun. I'm coming. Then he's gone to Arsenal. Lacazette is now the main striker. He's playing